My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these signatures are...
Oh yeah, those are the guys that signed it from the Nevada. Yeah. And these are the guys from Wake Island who signed the bottom of the print. See them all here? There were 32 of them. And this was the Battling
Oh
Midnight.
yeah, we have this, we saw this.
In the other room, the big painting, yeah. And then we did prints on them. We had everybody who signed the painting sign the prints. Now this is one of the paintings I created, the Cullen Kelly one, and the two living survivors, they signed it, and here's what they looked like back then. And of course here's a...
Here's Goldman.
Yeah, one of those guys, I don't know which one. But anyway, back here, come on down, I'll show you some good stuff.
You haven't seen any good stuff yet.
And usually after I sell a painting, I keep in place of the painting, I put up a print of it. So I had this painting. Now this was signed by Bob Hope. It was on the airplane while we were traveling back from England to the States. A load of these guys signed, and one of the men on the airplane, you know, was Bob Hope went for this event, and he signed the back of the painting. Yeah. And then over here is prints. I had some of these paintings, not all of them. Here's the Flying Tigers, here's the guys that signed. They're all gone today, none of them are alive. None of these guys are alive, they're all gone. But they all, when this was done back in 1989, these guys were alive to sign the painting. And the artist, Robert Taylor, when he does a painting, he does drawings. Now, this is another artist. This is an Israeli Jeep. This is the Six-Day War. And you see the P-51s with the Israeli markings on them?
Sure.
This is 1948, 48, 49, yeah.
Well, that's the War of Independence.
That's right after in 48, yeah. Okay.
Mary Lynn's father was one of the Flying Tigers.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Oh.
What was his name?
Moss was his last name.
He's probably on there. He signed it to us. You gotta look. There's a lot of signatures on there.
You gotta move the chair.
Yeah, look at this one.
There's a
look,
Mott.
look,
Moss.
Okay.
here, look at this one over here.
Which one? Right here?
Yeah.
It must take you a long time to change all your clock times.
I only changed one. The other, I'll change a couple, not all of them.
Oh my God.
No, I don't change them. I just let them go through the next year. Here's a picture of Cliff Robinson, the actor,
Oh,
myself, and here's Eddie Albert, the actor. Here's the artist and myself. We had an event at the Smithsonian, and this was taken at the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio. Myself and the artist, yeah. Now, here's one of the newest paintings I got over here. This one. Very detailed painting. You can see all the guys there, see it? And this is Chenault. This is from Life magazine, 1942. He led the Flying Tigers, General Chenault. This is a very recent painting. It was done just recently, 2013. It's done last year. Painting like this cost 50 grand.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And here's another one that was done in 1991.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And we'll show you some more. And of course, I used to collect Lalique.
Yes.
I had a big collection of Lalique. So now I'm giving it away. Some to. Would you like a piece of Lalique? Pick a piece. Come on, pick a piece. Pick anything you like.
Anything?
Anything.
Anything. I will because I like glass.
You like what?
Glass.
Take a piece.
Oh God.
Come on, look
Now you
around
got to
closely,
decide
see
which
what you
one.
like.
It is. They're all beautiful.
You know, I give some to Karen and some to Elaine. But I got, you know, when I go, I said, you'll come here and pick out what you like. So pick out something you like then.
Oh.
Look, sit down on a chair. Pull the chair up. Sit down on a
Well,
chair. Oh,
okay.
let me put the light on so you can see better. Wait a second.
I'll rule out
Wait
the
a
eagles
second.
and the
Wait a
bird.
second.
What should I pick? You don't care?
All right, sit down, Susan. Pull the chair up. Pull that chair up, and you see if you like whatever you like. You take.
Okay.
All right.
All
Come
right.
closer.
Ooh.
Bring it up.
Are you sure? Anyone?
Anyone you like. Take whatever you
It's hard.
Gene Krupa and his orchestra.
They're all beautiful.
Just pick up whatever you like. You know, whether you like a horse, a nude, or whatever you like. Dances.
All right, Susan will watch. Let's leave the rest.
Yeah.
Come on.
Let's study this.
She'll be painting.
All right, let's go. Let's. Hello. All right, I got Les here. I'm with a friend of his. I flew in for the charity event yesterday. Bob, yeah, he's here now, and Les is here. They're looking at the paintings. So, when are you coming home?
His statue.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to come over here for a while? Go to dinner with us? Christine Lee's? Yeah, hold a second. Hey, I'll let you talk to Les.
It's okay. I'm gonna come.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Christine Lee's, yeah. About, have dinner? What, well, we'll be here we'll be here another hour, Les, I guess. Another hour. What time is it now? It's, 5:15. Probably by, 6:15, 6:45. All right, you call me, I'll have the phone. All right, so pass by, all right. I will be here for at least an hour, all right. All right, he's gonna come by, he's home already. He's on the way home for the airport.
Who, Terry?
So where'd you pick?
Was that Terry?
Yes.
Yeah. Take your time. Come on in here, you guys.
What is the story of this?
Well, oh, what?
The story of the story thing?
I just bought that recently, yeah, it's a very nice piece. I bought one for Elaine and one for me, yeah.
Very nice.
There's some of the glass I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
I never bought this. I had a girlfriend. And she says, you need some color.
Yeah.
And I handed her 10 grand, and this is what she bought.
Beautiful.
Nice.
And I just moved in here. It was empty, the place. Now, I'm gonna show you something very different. Come on here.
Mustache.
I don't think I ever saw you with a mustache.
All right.
That was his name period.
See that flag standing there?
Mm-hmm.
That is the only flag that was taken off Wake Island before they surrendered.
Wow.
And you can read the little story on it here. And I bought it from a lawyer, his name is John Krupnick. And how he got it, I'll tell you, you'll read the story so if you can read it fast. Let's see, page 431. All right. See the flag here?
Yeah, I do.
What the lawyer did after the flag was, in other words, when they bombed Wake Island on December 1941, the Pan Am Clipper was at the ramp unloading mail. And as it was sitting on the ramp, the Japs came over and started to bomb the island, and they strafed the Clipper. And the commander of the island said, you guys gotta get out of here. And they had just bombed the hotel, the Pan Am Hotel on Wake Island, you know. And what it was they had mail, they had a lot of mail on a plane, and they had 100 tires for the American Volunteer Group to deliver the airplane. And this is, of course, this is where the Pan Am station was here, you see it?
Mm-hmm.
And these were the 3 guys that were in charge of Wake Island, Devereaux, Cunningham, and Putnam. And this is after they bombed the planes on the strip. Now see this patch? This original patch is in the other room. Now, if you read this here, let's see, read this here. You can read it out loud, so my
On the
brother.
morning of the attack on Pearl Harbor, when the Philippine Clipper returned to the Wake Lagoon to pick up the Pan Am employees, in order to lighten the load of the Clipper, all of the Air Express packages and all of the mail was left on the dock. Some reports say it was burned, but that has never been substantiated. Most likely, the now unimportant mail was still on Wake when the Japanese captured the island 16 days later. In any event, none of the mail carried on the Philippine Clipper on this flight was ever recovered. Other than the clothing worn by those being evacuated, the only item brought from Wake by the Pan Am staff was the U.S. flag that was flying at Pan Am's office. The rescued flag was presented by the Pan Am crew to Pan Am's public relations director, William Van Dusen. He left the Wake flag to his wife, who gave it to aviation historian Don Thomas. I obtained the flag from Don Thomas when I obtained his extensive collection of Pan Am memorabilia in 1995.
Now, the guy who, this book is by John
He's
Krupnik,
the lawyer.
Jewish guy, yeah,
Yeah.
Jewish lawyer in Fort Lauderdale. And he did this book, and
Pacific
Pacific Pioneers. And let's see, there should be a picture of him here. Here's John Krupnik, and here's what's his name there? Jimmy Buffett, the singer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wrote the,
Yeah. Huh.
And this is the Krupnik family. That's John Krupnik up there.
Yeah.
And when I went to his office, his flag was in his office. Now, when they shot up the Pan Am Clipper,
Okay.
this is when the Pan Am Clipper returned to the States, and they were fixing it. They cut a piece out of the Pan Am Clipper where the bullets went through. See it here?
Mm-hmm.
Bullet-riddled Clipper, and it was hanging in the president's office. So this is sitting in his office. I offered him $5,000 for it. He won't sell it to me. So I'm mounted on a beautiful piece there, and I bought the flag from him and several other things. Some mail that was left that they wrote. The construction workers wrote home to their sweethearts, you know, and he had these letters, and I bought a couple from him, you know. And that's the flag. That's the original flag. Now this flag is 5 foot by 8 foot. Very big flag, 8 foot long and 5 foot down. And this is a Pan Am Clipper in 1939, loading passengers on at the, this is the Bay Bridge in California. Yeah. And here they're taking on passengers. Robert Taylor did this painting too.
It looks like the Presidio back there. Is that what that is?
Yeah. And this is the particular plane, and there's another one. And it shows you how they brought passengers on these boats out to the airplane.
Yeah.
You know. And this was in the dock. Just they were going on a flight, you know. And only wealthy people could attend on one of these airplanes.
Yeah.
And they had bases in Midway and Wake Island hotels there. And when the war started, they bombed both hotels. And that picture is, they took out all the people who worked in the hotel, and the chimeros, the bus boys and waiters, they couldn't take out. They took out the Pan Am personnel. And this is a Robert Taylor painting here. This is loading tea, 1988, 1890. And these are movie stars. Real old ones. And then you notice they're in sepia. If you look at pictures of Marlon Brando and Al Pacino and Richard Gere, these are pictures taken a long, long time ago.
Yep.
When I got these pictures, they were all rolled up. And I found the guy in California. I sent him a picture. You know, I can mount them for you, and they look beautiful after I get finished mounting them. I sent them all the pictures, and this is what he sent me back.
Oh, they look nice.
Yeah. And come in the kitchen here, you'll see, see this. Yeah, and you look at these pictures, you see James Cagney. And remember, what's his name? Jewish actor. What was his name? Edward G. Robinson.
Yeah.
And Carol Lombard. Here's, what's his name?
Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart. Gary Cooper. Errol Flynn. Betty Davis. Tyrone Power. Clark Gable, Frank Sinatra, Presley, Katharine Hepburn, there's Robert Mitchum, there's Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, I think, yeah. Willie Nelson. And over here you got Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, Cary Grant. Well, she is the one who married him.
Clark Gable.
Yeah, Clark Gable, yeah.
Carol Walker.
These were such old pictures, you see? Taken such a long time ago. Yeah. But I'm going to show you in the other room something really interesting. You're going to really like this.
Oh, there's more rooms.
Oh, well, I'll do. You're going to watch something, a little video. All right, come in here.
You don't sleepwalk, I guess.
And this was my wife when I first got married.
Uh-huh.
And these were various ladies I met after I got divorced. And there's the girl I'm with now. You met her last night.
Yeah.
And these were some of the women. And there's pictures that are taken when I was a kid in 52nd Street. You see that house there, Terry? That's where, see that house there?
Yeah.
Mommy was pregnant. Daddy picked her up, carried her down the street to the hospital, and I was born. That's the house they were living in there. And it's still there.
53rd Street.
No, not 53rd Street. This is right by the Bethel Hospital. Yeah, no, that's not that. And some of the Ferraris and Porsches I own. All right, and if you look over here, I collect a lot of models.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of models.
You put them together?
Oh no, they come like this. All you do is take them out of the box. These are metal. They weigh 4 or 5 pounds a piece. They're very heavy. You know, well, the small ones don't weigh anything.
Yeah, but they're not.
Yeah. And here, this is my sports bathroom. The 1961 Yankee lineup. There's Mantle and Berra and what's his name?
Maris.
The whole team there. Here's DiMaggio, Mantle, and Williams. Here's Gehrig, Babe Ruth, and there they are in the younger days. So I keep it in.
You
Then
don't take many showers in there, do you?
no, I don't keep nothing in there. This is what I sell a lot of prints, so I need these tools to roll them up. Come on in. Got some ship paintings that Robert Taylor did.
Wow.
All right. Well, head to the other room. Watch your head when you walk through here. Now make a left. Watch your head, Les. Susan, you guys watch your head.
Oh my goodness.
All right, now, there's 3,000 books in here.
Oh.
I didn't read them all.
In this room?
I went through some of them.
Did you count them all? You counted them all?
But they're 3,000. And every one of these books is, some of these are 30, 40, 50 years old.
Are they all
Some of
about
these books.
World War II?
And
Yeah,
they're World War II, sports.
Steve Jobs, right there.
Yeah,
Colin Powell,
yeah,
Cronkite.
yeah. Now here's a painting of the Vietnam War. Did you see the movie with Once We Were Young and Soldiers with what was that actor's name? Mel Gibson. He played the part of that guy signing the painting there. See the guy signing? This is him in the painting. And the guy, this middle guy, is the guy with the pistol in his hand there. And an artist by the name of Bill Phillips did this for me. But one thing very interesting, I was into Lou Gehrig, big time. And what happened was,
That's all I have.
Right.
I want to show one thing. I met a doctor. He's still alive. He lives on Pine Tree Island. Now, when he was going to Columbia University, and in 1942 he went into the library in Columbia, and his hero was Lou Gehrig, and he bought this book. This book is from 1942. It's immaculate, basically. And he gave me the book for one reason. Read this out loud.
To Eugene Eisenberg, please accept this book, which has been in my possession for 60 years. I purchased it in the Columbia University bookstore as a college freshman in the spring of 1942. Lou Gehrig, my boyhood idol, had died the year before, and the United States was just getting into World War II. I cannot conceive of any other person than yourself with as much knowledge and feeling for Lou Gehrig and his era. Your affection for these things matches my own, which is endless and timeless. From your good friend, Richard.
He's still alive today. He's 90 years old. He lives, yeah. He bought this in 1942.
Amazing. And that's the author's son.
No, that's not, no, that's just a boy in the dugout. That's Lou Gehrig. I don't know who that is. I don't think it says.
Okay, I don't know what that means.
What does it say? Lou Gehrig and the author's son. You're right. The author's son. Frank Graham's the author. You're right. You're absolutely right. Let me just slip this back in here. Now, Lou Gehrig's uniform came up to bid back in 1998, and I was doing pretty good. And it was at Christie's in New York, and I wanted to buy it, and I bid $175,000. But 2 doctors in Boca Raton got it. 4 doctors, they chipped in together and they bought it. Then it came up to bid again in 1999. I bid on it, they didn't get it. Some doctors bought it, some guys bought it for $451,000. I'm still trying to buy it. You must think I'm crazy.
The price is going to keep going up, I think.
It only goes up. All right. So, and all these books you see here, excuse me, everyone is covered. They go back to the 40s, these books. They're like brand new today. Plus, I kept them all covered. Now, this, I remember I showed you that airplane models? Those 2 airplane models?
Yeah.
This was the German pilot, the American pilot, Charlie Brown, and this was the painting. I had the painting and I sold it for $80,000 after the book was done.
Huh.
I had paid for the painting about $40 and I sold it for $80. So, and the guy who bought the book, he has a big company, Gold Company, Gold Rarities. And I've been buying and selling for a while, you know, now I'm trying to sell the rest of it. There were 189 paintings. I'm down to 100. Sold 89 paintings in the last 7, 8, 9 years.
Are there any that you don't want to sell? You just want
Yeah,
to
there's
keep?
a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go in the other room. We'll show it to you. Oh, watch your head. Yeah, let's see. Can you squeeze through here? See if you can go through there. All right, let me get through.
We can get through this.
And I collect bronzes. There are 70 bronzes here. And they're all numbered and signed. And I like eagles and I like horses. You're all over the place.
Look at that eagle. Man, that's amazing.
That bird is beautiful.
Yeah.
Egret, is it? Or is it a pelican?
A pelican.
Is it?
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, it's beautiful. But we saw some really nice eagles in Alaska.
Now you see the one on the table there, Karen? Okay. Susie. Susan here. Look.
Yes.
See this one here? This is hers.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
You can look at it any
Oh,
way you
that's
like.
nice, yeah. That's
Yeah, I
nice.
have a couple like this.
Because that must weigh a ton.
Oh, took 2 people to get it on this table. I couldn't lift it, you know. And then the guy who builds me my clocks, this is one of his creations. And I have them down because they ring. And there's another one in the corner there. See that black blue side one? There's another one he built for me.
Let's talk about these paintings.
Oh, all right. This is a recent painting. This is the Arizona in dry dock. This is called The Calm Before the Storm. And this is the West Virginia being bombed. And you can see these boats are rescuing the men from the water. And this painting here is when the war was over, they signed the peace treaty on the Missouri. And this is after they signed the treaty, about 2,000 American planes flew over the ship. Robert Taylor did this one. And before Robert Taylor does a painting, he does a drawing. That's the original drawing. And these are Admiral Nimitz and MacArthur signing. That's a drawing of the signing of the peace treaty. And this is a bombing, another bombing of Pearl Harbor. And this is a drawing. These guys who signed this were on the Arizona. These were the few guys that were left who signed this. And a lot of my paintings have been on book covers. There's one. See the one you're looking at over here? That was on this book cover called December 8th, MacArthur's Pearl Harbor. Now, I was telling you about Colin Kelly, the one that got...
Francisco here.
yeah?
What was
In
going
this
on?
particular, I'll tell you, see all these Corsairs? Pappy Boynton, the Marine ace, was released from the POW camp, and he was coming back to California on this particular plane. So his old crew guys that flew with him were coming to give him a party, a welcoming home. And this was 1945. The ships were celebrating. You could see the sailboats in the water and everything. John Shore did this, nice painting. And there's Colin Kelly's plane being shot down. Remember I showed you that? See the Jap? And here's the Japanese plane that shot him down, and the Japanese ace signed the back who shot him down. So Burroughs Sakai signed the back of that painting. He signed it in California when it was done. Yeah. Watch your step here. It's very, very dangerous there. Watch your step. Now, this is one of the big paintings I created there. And these are, now here's Colin Kelly. This was Clarkfield before the war started, late 1940, 41. And they were loading up bombs going on practice missions. And in this painting, I put myself and my sons. Here's Richie, here's Joey, here's Terry, here's me, and here's Stephen. And you're gonna see a movie on this guy here, Meyer Levin. There he is with the mustache before he was killed. And this is Clarkfield.
Bombardier, right?
Bombardier, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big story on him, and I'll tell you the story. I know we got a lot of time yet.
So this is Robert Taylor, this
No, this
this
is
is,
John Shore.
John
This
Shore.
was done in 2001, about 13, 14 years ago, yeah. And we created this painting with John Shore. I flew out to California where he lived and bought him a lot of pictures of these guys. So every face you see here are what these guys looked like back then.
real face.
From pictures I got.
Yeah.
I had photographs of all these guys here. Of course, I sent the artist pictures of my boys. And now see this painting here? This is the Battle of the Philippine Sea. They called the Marianas Turkey Shoot. The planes were coming back to the carriers. And Halsey put the lights on so they could see the carriers and land. But a lot of them were running low on fuel. They had a ditch in the water. These two guys, they signed the back of the painting. They were alive. I'll show you pictures. They're signing the back of the painting. They ditched in the water in their plane. And this is called Bogey's 11 o'clock eye, where they spotted
Wheels up, right?
Yamamoto's plane. Yeah.
The wheels were up, right? I mean,
There's no wheels.
well,
No,
they had
the
wheels
wheel.
up.
Yeah, the wheels were up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this painting is called. Now, the pilot of this plane was a Jewish pilot, Vic Tatelman, lives in Miami. He was the pilot of that plane.
Rita's wagon.
Right. And over here is a painting called Bogey's 11 o'clock high, when they shot down Yamamoto. And if you look closely, to the left, you see those two Japanese bombers to the left up there?
Yeah.
That was 11 o'clock. One of those planes Yamamoto was on.
Tell him who Yamamoto was.
Yamamoto was the one who conceived the Pearl Harbor attack. And he went to college in the United States, and he was an admiral, you know,
Yeah, he was a Navy guy.
a Navy guy, but he went to college. Yeah.
He was on a carrier.
He was on he was on a carrier, but he knew the war that they couldn't win the war. He gave Japan 6 months, and that's when we turned things around with the Battle of Midway.
Well, what was the point then?
Well,
They didn't listen to him.
The Japanese wanted to punish America. We were bad.
And he told them they couldn't.
We got 6 months. You know, we were.
It took more than 6 months, though.
Well, yeah, but the war
think
turned
it turned
after the
around?
Battle of Midway.
Yeah.
Now here's the bombing mission, Doolittle over the
Tokyo?
Tokyo,
Yeah.
and here are the guys that signed the back of the painting. The Doolittle, some of the raiders, see them up there? They're standing next to the painting.
I would say he has a passion.
sure
Hello?
anywhere in the world.
Oh, really?
I mean, it could be a museum.
All right.
It really is.
Well, Terry's here. The whole gang here.
I think it could.
No, they get, that's when they mark release of collectors and people like that, they have warehouse spaces.
Yeah.
And that, when the collections outgrow their houses, then they get warehouse spaces, then eventually they become nonprofit spaces and museums. Yeah.
And this is basically, this wall here is the Doolittle raid. There's the Hornet that they took off from. And here are some of the raiders at a reunion that I went to. This was in probably California when I went to a reunion. But they look like, you know, back, there's only 4 guys left out of the 80 men today. And I'll show you something you can see. Here's, now this painting I commissioned, Into the Teeth of the Wind. And here are the Doolittle pilots that signed this painting here. And here's they're taking off to carry a Hornet. And here's they're standing in front of the painting. See this painting here. Yeah. And then just recently, New York Times did an article on me. A couple of weeks ago, I'll bring it over here. Oh, look here. These are the Doolittle guys. And me and Terry went to this reunion here. And this was the hotel we stayed at, and this was the poster. Where's Karen? All right, good.
Right there.
All right, come on in, everybody.
Hi.
And let's see.
Hi, I'm Liz.
What are you doing there?
Nice to see you, Terry.
Long
How are
time,
you?
you look great. How you doing here, really?
Yeah.
My wife Karen.
Hi, I'm Liz. Hi, Liz. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. I think we met. You and I met. I think.
How was the reunion?
Hi, Susan.
Great. How was the ball last night?
Oh, wonderful. Like seeing a Broadway show. Saw the Broadway show last night. Yeah.
Good. You had a good time?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Better balls, really, at the Four Seasons.
Yeah, it was,
Okay, yeah, that's first time at the Four
Yeah,
Seasons.
yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, it's quite
it was
Good
great.
venue? Lots of room?
Lots of room, lots of
art.
art, and boy, it was like watching a Broadway show, watching these guys and these girls dancing.
Yeah.
Now here's the most decorated Marine ace, Pappy Boynton. And here he is shooting down a zero over Bougainville. See him in this plane? C-83? And that's it, there he is there. And this was the Battle of Midway. These were Douglas Devastators that took off, 15 of them. They all got shot down. Every one of these guys died except him. And here he is over here. This was from Life magazine in 1942. This was his airplane there, T-14. And every one of them got killed. And this is the Battle of the Coral Sea. You notice they took off the red circles because our own men thought sometimes they were Japs, so they took the red circles off. And when they went on the raid, you see they wiped out. But if you look closely, you can see basically some of the red in there. Look at the wings. You can basically see some of the red.
We missed one room. We didn't go into that room over there.
We got to go that way.
Nonprofit space, a museum. It's their collection.
Sure.
All right, come on here.
Okay.
You know, we were trying to get out of Peace Falls, one squadron and fence outside, so we were fence wall and camped out in Miami.
Come on in. This is the Memphis Belle on its last mission, returning to England. Yeah. And you see, that was the pilot's girlfriend. Now the other side, it was painted in blue. They ran out of red paint, so they painted it blue on the other side. Of course, you can't see it. And this is a Vietnamese painting. Let me put some lights on there.
You'll get better tomorrow.
And this used to be a closet, so we made a little room, a sitting room. You can watch TV in here. And there's drawings here, and here's an interesting painting. This one here, see it? There's the artist who did the painting, and this was the crew of that airplane. These 5 men. You notice the side of the airplane? And here, that was taken out of the aircraft carrier. And there's the emblem on there. This was a Japanese version of the attack.
What, a Japanese version?
Yeah, because you see Japanese guys in there, Japanese gunners, and some guy with a samurai sword.
I can't see anything.
All right, let me.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
Oh, I see now, okay. I see. Okay, so this is where?
That's over Tokyo.
Okay.
Come over here.
Follow me.
Everybody sit down. Let's talk for a while. Let's sit down. Let's get everybody in here. We got enough chairs here for everybody. Grab a
All right.
chair.
I'll grab a chair. I'll sit here.
Chair. And this room is the European room, where I keep the European paintings. And Curtis LeMay signed that painting up there, that B-17 painting.
That one?
Yeah, he signed that. And see this painting here? In 1992, I didn't know a lot about paintings. Robert Taylor finished this painting, and when he sent it to the art store for me to buy, I wouldn't take it. I couldn't figure out why he cut off the starboard wing. See it's cut off?
Yeah.
So, after I didn't take the painting, some guy bought it for $15,000 from Texas. I called him, I said, why did you cut off the starboard wing? The canvas wasn't big enough? He said, no. It was to bring the airplane up close so you could see the crewman in the cockpit. And that's, so it brings the airplane up close. You see the crewman, you can see the guy in the bubble canopy there. Not much, but you can see that was the purpose of cutting off the plane. So what happened, it made the cover of Robert Taylor book. And I wanted it the worst way. So I offered the guy $25,000, 50, 30,000. I offered him 35, 40. Finally, I said, one final offer, I offered him 55,000. For a painting I could have bought for 15, I bought it for 55. That was a mistake. That was a big mistake.
Do you have a book called Shattered Sword?
No.
Okay, I know what to get you next.
Shattered Sword?
Shattered
About the
Sword.
Battle of Midway.
No. It's the untold story. Wait, it might be. Let's see, hold on. You're right. It's the untold story of the Battle of Midway.
I got it.
You have it?
Yeah,
It's
sure.
written by the Japanese guy, from the Japanese point
Where,
of view.
I don't know, we'll go in the other room. I think I got it, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
It just came out.
I don't know. Could be.
So anyway, these are European paintings in this room here. And then Robert Taylor does ship paintings. That aircraft carrier there was sunk by the Germans. They're called the Courageous. And this is the HMS Kelly. And then they use these little ones for escort duty. This is HMS Sapphire. And every time the artist, now you see this painting in the corner there? When the artist does a painting, there's the original drawing he does. You see it up in the corner there?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
And I usually buy the drawings, you know, they go along with the paintings, you know. And then what they'll do, after I buy the painting, he sends me about 7, 8, 9, 10 prints at a time. And I've been giving them out, just giving them away because I didn't want to start selling it was too much for me. So I found a gentleman that you met several months ago. His name is Bruce Weinstein. He has a big collection of World War II memorabilia on the Army Air Force. He's got Northern bomb sights, he's got guns from the airplanes, everything. So he's been selling these prints for me, $400 or $500 a piece that I got for nothing, you know. And I give him 25% of the cut. And he's sold quite a few in the last couple of months, you know. He does all the work, he advertises on eBay.
This is Germany, and that's
That is over the Rhine. That's
what I would.
yeah. That's Eagles over the Rhine. P-51.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you look back, there are earlier models on there too. These are P-47. That's a very detailed painting. This one here.
P-51 mostly in the European theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
P-51s, P-47s, P-40s were the Wildcats and Hellcats was the Pacific. Yeah. B-17s we used both in over Germany and Japan. And let's see. So, and this is a very beautiful painting with the 262 over here. get the name of the painting.
260.
Well, they all have names, you know.
Yes.
There's a painting of England, planes landing in England. Now see this painting here? Not this, no, come over here. Come over here.
262 is a German jet.
No. See this painting over here?
Yeah.
Here's the original drawing, see it?
Yes.
Here's the pilot that signed it. He's 103 years old.
Yeah.
Come here. See him there signing the back of the painting? 103 years old. This was done 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
103 years old. He signed the back of the painting. He's the pilot.
Now these are biplanes. This must be
Just World War One. Yeah, this is World War One. 1917, 1918. Yeah. Now I'm going to show you something. Les, you're going to have to help me with this. Come in here. Look, Terry. I want to show him the Meyer 11 thing.
Everybody was
The
staring
what?
at this baby.
Okay.
I mean, the baby was like a draw.
Pull a couple of chairs in. I mean, you'll help me with
I was telling him about the baby at the ball.
It's probably the youngest ever at the ball, don't you think?
Yeah, oh
this.
yeah.
Put it down, Terry. Yeah,
He
need
was quite ahead in his little talents.
All right.
Come over here.
All right.
There's space.
I'm good right here, actually. I can be right here.
Jumbo.
All right.
So you're from Tampa?
Let's get this on.
You guys still in Killorn?
We're not far from there.
Okay.
But we've been, we're in another subdivision on that side of town.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, not far from there.
Is Lake Jackson still all dried up?
I think it started to come back.
Really?
Very
I
slowly.
heard, yeah, very slowly.
Very slowly.
I used to
was
water
out
ski
in
on
it.
that lake.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was out in it trying to fish,
Uh-huh.
but it's not like it used to.
No. I just remember all the lily pads going through there. It was beautiful.
You might not recognize the town.
Now see if you can get one picture in there, Terry. This is the story of Meyer 11, the Jewish bombardier. That's Frank Sinatra narrating this. 1942.
Born in Brooklyn 26 years ago. They say he wasn't much at school, but he won the Navy Cross just the same. We're bringing down a lot of Japanese planes and singing a couple of ships too with a guy named Kelly. Colin Kelly. This is the last time you're ever going to see Meyer because he's dead now. Knocked out by the Japs. It's a good thing somebody got a voice recorder set up.
Can't fix it?
Where do you have the cables running from?
What?
Where do you have the cable running from?
Well, I've been on
Here,
about
hold
50
this.
bombing missions. I think my narrowest escape was...
Remember I showed you the guy with the mustache?
Kelly in the Philippines.
Where's your friend?
We just
He's right here, right behind you.
back to our home.
Remember I showed you the guy with the mustache, Meyer 11, under the
that's
plane?
him.
That's him.
Two Japanese
If you look,
pursued.
his teeth are so bad and his nails, you know, they didn't have dentists out there. He's telling the story now, how they shot him down. Because we can play it.
Everything they had of us. Cannon, armor piercing, tracer, and incendiary bullets were pouring through the cabin. They set the ship on fire. When the control cables burned through, the pilot called over interphone, told us to bail out. I got down to the escape hatch and found my navigator, Lieutenant Joe Bean, struggling with the door, trying to get out. Seems that the emergency release had frozen. Well, I realized we didn't have much time to waste, so I kicked the door open with one foot and kicked him out with the other. Then, well, I guess a man gets superhuman strength at times. I tore the door off the hinges and went out with it. Counted 8, pulled my ripcord. Good old shoot blossom. Well, that made me pretty happy for a minute. Picture changed, though, rather quick. To pursuit,
Japanese.
shot our plane down, set it on fire, came around and started to strafe us.
They were strafing him in the chutes.
They made 8 separate passes. Tracer bullets kind of go around us. Look up at my chute, see them going through. See them going around my legs. That stream of tracers caught my right pant leg and ripped it up to the knee. Managed to get down okay. Guess I'm pretty lucky. I haven't been hit yet.
I'll play it one more time from the beginning.
Is this a CD?
No, yeah, it was on VHS, and we found this in the New York Public Library, and it was converted to CD, DVD. All right, let's
If you give me this DVD, I'll put it onto disc and
all right,
upload
yeah,
it to YouTube.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
How do you know that it's not the
Wait a second.
thing that's broken?
Well, yeah, Terry?
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm
Yeah.
trying to. Is that laser disc?
You got to get to number 6. It'll go on. Hit the button. It's DVD video. Hit that a few times.
DVD.
D video on the right-hand corner on top.
You mean the TV? All right.
Hit that a few times.
How long after this was Meyer Levin killed?
I'm going to tell you the story. Get back to DVD, Terry. Hit it again. Yeah, go ahead.
Look at this. Are you playing it?
Yeah, you're supposed to be playing it.
Forget it. Tell a story.
All right. Well, I wanted to find what I was very curious to find out how Meyer Levin got killed in the war. And I found a book that the Kelly family gave me called "These Men Shall Never Die" by Lowell Thomas. He was a writer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And going through the book, I'll watch it up. Now this is Frank Sinatra narrating this.
That young fella getting out of that drama. Just an ordinary young American with a kind of ordinary American name. Levin. Meyer Levin. Born in Brooklyn 26 years ago. They say he wasn't much at school, but he won the Navy course just the same. Bringing down a lot of Japanese planes and singing a couple of ships too with a guy named Kelly. Owen Kelly. This is the last time you're ever going to see Meyer because he's dead now. Knocked out by the Japs.
Well, Japs didn't kill him. I'll tell you what happened.
And asked him, what was your most exciting adventure, Meyer?
His teeth were so bad, and he got the mustache.
About 50 bombing mission.
That's 26 years
I
old.
think my narrowest escape was when I was flying with Captain Colin B. Kelly in the Philippines. We just sent to Haruna and we're on our way back to our home base. We were attacked by 2 Japanese pursuit. They came up from below and behind us, got on a blind spot behind the tail and stayed there. They were throwing everything they had at us. Cannon, armor-piercing, tracer, and incendiary bullets were pouring through the cabin. They set the ship on fire. When the control cables burned through, the pilot pulled over interphone and told us to bail out. I got down to the escape hatch and found my navigator, Lieutenant Joe Bean, struggling with the door, trying to get out. Seems that the emergency release had frozen. Well, I realized we didn't have much time to waste, so I kicked the door open with one foot and came out
They
with
made
the other.
high school after in Brooklyn, Meyer Levin Junior High School.
I know.
Well, I guess a man gets superhuman strength at times. I tore the door off the hinges and went out with it. Counted 8, pulled my ripcord. Good old shoot blossom. Well, that made me pretty happy for a minute. Picture changed though, rather quick. 2 pursuit, shot our plane down, set it on fire, came around and started to strafe us. They made 8 separate passes. Tracer bullets coming all around us. Look up at my chute, see them going through, see them going around my legs. That stream of tracers caught my right pant leg and ripped it up to the knee. Managed to get down okay. Guess I'm pretty lucky. Haven't been hit yet.
That's amazing. 8 passes they came by, strafing and didn't kill him?
Well,
That's pretty amazing.
so anyway, I got this book from the Cullen Kelly family when I went there. Matter of fact, Terry was with me when we had a reunion up in Madison County, Florida. That big painting you saw in the other room of Cullen Kelly, it was finished by Gil Cohen in Pennsylvania, and there was no way to get it on an airplane, so I rented a van, and I stuck it in the back of the van, and Terry met me in Philadelphia, and he drove the truck all the way to Madison County, straight through without stopping. You remember that? Without stopping.
Well, I remember. I was getting tired, and I figured I'll let him drive for a while, and that lasts about a half hour. So you got to pull over, let me drive.
Yeah. So when we got to Madison County, they took the painting and they took it into, where was it, a museum or something, Terry? Where we had the reunion where they showed the painting.
It was an old house, an old Confederate old Confederate Army house.
Yeah.
It was the headquarters, so
And
that's where they did it.
The painting was a very big
Madison.
painting, and they brought it to this place, and the artist flew down from Philadelphia, and I was there with Terry. And some of the crewmen from his airplane that survived the war were there, and they unveiled the painting. There were about 700-800 people that turned out to see it, and they just couldn't get over it, and people were asking a lot of questions and all that. And then there was a dinner that night. Cullen Kelly had a sister, her name was Emmy, and she had a big dinner at her house that same night, and we attended. And after that, we put the painting in a van, and Terry drove it all the way back to Florida. Well, he drove it to Miami.
He drove it to Miami.
From Madison County, and he drove it from Philadelphia to Madison County. Unbelievable. So
the family was in Madison County?
they're still there. Matter of fact, the sister
The Kelly
died.
family.
The Kelly family still lives there. Now, here's a good one.
That's not far from us.
No.
Madison
Close to
County.
Tallahassee.
All right, so let me tell you the crux of the story, how this came about. When I was 9-10 years old, I was with a friend of mine. His name was Dennis Sullivan, and we were wandering down the street in my neighborhood. It wasn't too far from where we lived, maybe a half a mile. And I noticed a lot of the houses or the private homes had blue flags with tassels in them, with a star, meaning there was someone in the service from the family or relative. One of the houses had a gold star, and I didn't know what it meant, so I went up to the door and I knocked on the door, and a young woman came to answer holding a baby. And I asked her, and I noticed on the doorbell it said Weeks, W-E-E-K-S, and I think it said Kelly underneath that. Well, when Captain Cullen Kelly was killed, his wife, Marion, went to stay with her mother in Brooklyn. And that was the door that I knocked on. And she answered holding Cullen Kelly Jr., the baby. This is 1940, 42 or 43. And what happened after that, I got so enthralled with it. And, as years went by, a book came out called The Legend of Cullen Kelly. And in the book it said that his wife moved in with her mother living in Brooklyn, and that was the door that I knocked on. So I decided I wanted to do a painting. And
Wait, what did the gold star mean?
that someone got killed in the family. A relative or somebody was killed in the family. And the blue stars meant that you had somebody in the service. So what I did is I did a little research, and I found out there were several men from his airplane still alive. There were 3. There was Joe Bean, the navigator, Robert Altman, the waist gunner, and second radio operator, what's his name? Forget his name. Let's see, what was his name? Well, he's up there in one of the pictures. So I got all 3 of them together. We got Robert Taylor on the phone, and we talked a while, and we wanted to do a painting of him. And the painting we created was when they're at Clarkfield, where he's waving to his men to get on the airplane. It's in the other room. And they gave him a lot of information. First, one of them was confused whether the plane was silver or it was camouflage. But I knew it was silver, there was a lot of research. So anyway, we created a painting, and he did it, the very big painting, 4 foot by 8 foot. And when we had the reunion, these guys signed the back of the painting with Gil Cohen, the artist. And in the painting. I put myself and my boys. I wanted to put him in. He wouldn't send me a picture. Remember? He wouldn't send me a picture. So he didn't want to go to a picture. So anyway, after that was done, I got curious about Meyer Levin. I didn't know how he was killed. So I found this book by Lowell Thomas, These Men Shall Never Die. In the book, it told of the airplane that he was on and how he got killed. And the pilot was named John Bobby, was the pilot. I got the book in the other room. The book was given to the Kelly family, to his mother and father, and it's autographed in there, who gave it to them. And they gave it to me when we had the reunion there. And reading the book, I got a hold of John Bobby. I went to the 19th Bomb Group, and I found out he was alive. He was in his, in the late 80s. I called him up, and he wouldn't talk to me when I asked about Meyer Levin. He didn't want to talk to me about it. A month or two later, the phone rings on a Sunday morning. He said, I'm on the phone. He said, Mr. Eisenberg? I said, yeah, I'm going to tell you something. And after this, you won't have to call me anymore. I said, all right. And he told me the story about how he was killed. In 1942, he was in early 1942, when Meyer Levin was in the Philippines with Cullen Kelly, with the crew, he survived being captured. So he was on Mindanao. And what they were doing, they were taking out all the key men, pilots, co-pilots, navigators, bombardiers, and they were sending them to Australia to go to other groups, to get attached to other groups. And he was sent to Australia. So while in Australia, he met an Australian girl, and they had a love affair. She became pregnant. And in late 1942, when she was almost due, her mother and father wouldn't take her back into the house unless she put up the baby for adoption. So she put the baby up for adoption. The baby was born, was a little boy. They named him Arthur Levin Barrett. Because the family that adopted him was a Barrett family. So I found this out. Then he says to me, John, I'm going to give you the telephone number in Australia where you can reach his wife. Where you can reach his son's wife, Arthur Barrett Levin.
His wife.
So I called up about 1 o'clock in the morning. I was there. I woke them up. It was 5, 6 o'clock. And I told them who I was. And I told her I was trying to find a little bit more about how Meyer was killed. And, of course, they told me he was on a reconnaissance flight over Rabaul. They ran into foul weather, running low on fuel. They had a ditch in the sea. He stayed inside the plane, handed out the life rafts, and saved the crew, and he went down with the plane. A week later, his son was born. He never knew. And she gave up the baby to the Barrett family for adoption. She moved back in with her parents, and of course she got married later and had other children. And when I called Australia, I was speaking to Joy Barrett. That was Arthur Levin's wife, the adopted son's wife. And she told me the story, and she said she's coming to Florida to visit a friend. Can she visit me? So she came to Florida, his wife, the adopted son's wife. We stood here a day, and she bought me this DVD, and then she made several copies for me. For some reason, it ain't playing here, but it plays in every other room. I don't know if it's the TV, So when I got that, it really meant a lot to me. And then when the 19th Bomb Group had a reunion, of course, Meyer Levin was a member of the 19th Bomb Group, and they didn't have the money to come to the meeting, in the 19th Bomb Group here. So they pulled together money. She came to the meeting with Meyer Levin's son, Arthur Levin, and of course she visited me, and she gave me a lot of stuff. She gave me pictures of his family when he was, they lived in Brooklyn. He was born in Brooklyn, Meyer Levin, on East 38th Street, not too far from us, less. Pictures of his mother and father, who was a rabbi, and the way the crew of the families of the Kellys learned about what happened to their sons and relatives was through Meyer Levin's family, because they were on the news every week in Brooklyn, because he was from Brooklyn, Jewish bombardier, got killed, And everything went through Meyer Levin's family. And she bought me all these pictures, his medals and everything. They're in the other room, you know. And then what she told me was strange. When he got married, Arthur Levin, they went to the home to see his mother, Meyer Levin's wife. She was an old lady by then. And when they walked into the room, Arthur Barrett and Joy Barrett, his wife, the first thing she said, "You look just like Meyer. You look exactly like Meyer." And of course, she passed away several years later, and that was an interesting story. You know, then it was really a lot to catch and, you know, mull over, you know.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
And the other thing is, with one of the men on the crew, oh, by the way, Colin Kelly had a son, and they named him Colin Kelly III, Junior III. And he's the little baby that I saw. She was holding his wife. I found out he was when he got killed, Colin Kelly, his father, the President of the United States was Roosevelt. And he wrote a letter to the President in 1956, which was Eisenhower, who was President, that to admit Colin Kelly III to West Point, because his father went to West Point. But when that came about, he took the test, the son, Colin Kelly III, and passed and went to West Point. And he became a tank commander or something, and he wasn't very happy. He became a priest, you know, in the service, and he got an early retirement, and he opened up his own church, Episcopalian Church in Los Alamos, New Mexico, where they built the atomic bomb. And I found this out through the family. I called him up one day, and we spoke for a long time, speaking to his son, who was a little baby then, you know. It was interesting. It really, you know, just like was
Made
meant
a lot
to be.
of cold calls.
It was meant to be, yeah. Just like the picture in Times Square was meant to be. So anyway, here's the crux of the story. When Colin Kelly's plane was shot down, there was a 12-year-old boy. His name was Daniel Dizon. And he went to the crash site to see the plane where the plane landed in the Philippines where it went down. And the plane was split open in the middle, and the front of the you know, the bombardier's station in front was all bashed up. And this 12-year-old was trying to climb on the plane to get this little red light off the tail of the plane. He couldn't reach it. So he went inside the plane and removed a gearbox, a radio receiver, little box, what the hell they call it, I forget. So anyway, he removed it. And when I found out about that, I wanted to get it, you know, after all, now this Daniel Dizon is 93 years old. And I called him in the Philippines. I got his telephone number through
He's Filipino.
through Bill Bosch, who was a writer who wrote a book, and he gave me the name of a Filipino who gave me the telephone number. And I asked him about that. Do you have that gearbox? He says, yeah. I said, you know, would you like to? I'd like to present it to Colin Kelly's son, so he'll have a piece of his father's airplane. He didn't want to give it up. Didn't want to give it up. So here's the crux. In the airplane, remember I tell you one of the men head was decapitated as the first bullets went through the plane? Well, when I was doing the painting, I had to get a picture of him. I couldn't find the picture of him. So I had somebody help me find his relatives in New Jersey. And I found his niece in New Jersey, and I told her who I was, and I did a painting, and I'll send her a print if she'll send me a picture of her father, of her uncle. And she agreed to it. But the picture came too late after the painting was done. So anyway, she sent me this picture of her uncle, and he's in the picture there. And he was 38 years old. They called him Doc. He was the oldest man on the plane. He was the engineer, and he knew a little first aid. So what happened, when they sent me the picture I sent her some prints, and then I find out she has a son who lives in Brooklyn, and he works for the transit authority in New York City. The trains, the subway trains, and he's a little younger than you, Terry, but he grew up and became a helicopter pilot during the Vietnamese War. And I got when talking to his mother, you know, his the niece was his mother. She gave me his telephone number in Brooklyn. I called him up, and I told him that I had pictures of his I knew the story about his uncle. So he says to me, he's going to visit this Dizon in the Philippines. I couldn't believe it. I said, when? He says, in a couple of months. He had made plans to fly out to the Philippines. And we kept in touch for a long time. Then a week before and then I introduced him to Colin Kelly's son over the telephone. They came very friendly. Then a few weeks later, he called me up. He says, I'll be leaving for the Philippines. I'm going to visit this Daniel Dizon. And he had a whole story, what he saw when he went to the plane. After all, this man is 93 years old on dialysis. So he got to the Philippines and he went to visit this Dizon. I'm going to show you something interesting you're not going to believe. And he taped all this on his CD, on a DVD. And he sent me the DVD. It's about 2 hours long. I'm going to give it to you, Les. You'll be able to hear the whole story. And I'll give you this one, take back too. And he told the story how he was 12 years old, how he saw the plane when it was shot down. He went into the plane and removed this gearbox. And then what he did as a little boy, 12 years old, he drew a picture of the crash. And with this book, The Legend of Colin Kelly came out, and I did a lot of research. I found the guy that wrote the book. I found this Dizon, the fellow that drew the picture for the book, The Legend of Colin Kelly. All right, let me sit down for a second. Oh, Jesus. All right. Now, when I got in touch with the artist, here's the artist, Gil Cohen. Now, this came out of a magazine, Flying Art. While he was doing the painting, they showed a picture of what the painting would look like. You saw in the other room. And every couple of weeks, he'd send me pictures of how far he got with the painting. If there was anything wrong that I wanted to add to it, he would change it around. And these are pictures as he was going along of the men. Here's Bob Altman, that old man you saw over there. Here's Joe Bean carrying the, wait a second. He's carrying the bomb, the Norden bomb site in his bag here. It wasn't very big. And here's Colin Kelly waving his men to the plane. And here's the plane. And the guy that I couldn't get, I put him in the picture running towards the airplane. Let's see. In the background here. You see the guy here? That's supposed to be the guy that I couldn't get.
The nephew.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So here is a picture of Colin Kelly when he was going through flight training, right after he graduated West Point. And here's pictures taken on Midway Island. Now the pictures were sent home to his mother and father. And he has a couple of children, and I found his niece, and they were in a basement. Found picture, and she said, I got some pictures of my uncle. I said, they're in the basement, I got to get them. And these pictures were taken in 1941, while the planes were out on the way to the Philippines. And this is the guy who they were sent down to. Now that young guy you saw, the old man, you know, who was you saw in that picture, here he is at Hawaii, sitting near a car. That's pictures of him. Now here's another picture. That's pictures of him too. Bob Altman standing by the wing of an airplane. Here's Meyer Levin in the cockpit of the B-17.
Right.
This is Joe Bean, the navigator, who this guy kicked out. You remember he kicked him out of the plane? Here's Joe Bean.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the man whose head was decapitated.
Right.
And and here's, see the guy rolling the drums?
Mm-hmm.
That's him, rolling the drums.
Mm-hmm.
On the back of the picture, it explains everything here. Who was rolling the drums and who was who.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1942 or 43, they used to have tickets. They called them war gum cards. And there was a set of 136. And they did one on Colin Kelly. This was number, was it, you see this number here, Terry? Les? You hear the number? Oh, number 13. This was Colin Kelly and a war gum card. See it? And then in 1948, they sent his body home to Madison County, Florida. Here it is draped in the city hall. He was in the casket from. Now, this is very important. When they found his body by the airplane, he went down with the airplane. They found him inside the airplane with his chute on. And here is the picture taken from 1941, what that Dizon drew. This is the original picture from 1941. Now all this is typed out later. This is the picture from 1941. He signed it. This was his drawing. This is not a recopy of it. This is the original drawing from 1941. What does it say here? Early January 1942. See it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what Dizon looked like when he was growing older. They're pointing to the spot where the plane landed, where it shot down.
Mm-hmm.
And here is the Japanese pilot, Saburo Sakai, that shot him down.
Mm-hmm.
And here's this Dizon as he was growing older.
Mm-hmm.
You see it?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the very last pictures of Colin Kelly before he got shot down. He was visiting another pilot in the Philippines. You know. And this was over here. This guy, what's his name?
Joe Bean.
Joe Bean. He was a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the guy that wrote the book, who helped write the book, The Legend of Colin Kelly. That's Bob Altman, that very old man. See him? And here's what he looked like in his younger days.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here they are standing, here's Bob Altman and Jim Halkyard standing by the painting, pointing to themselves. Here's the artist and myself. We unveiled the painting. And here the guy signing the back of the painting. I took pictures of them. And here's the artist. And this is a little story. Now, they bombed the ship. It wasn't a battleship. It was a cruiser called the Ashigara. They didn't sink it. They damaged it very heavy. And they towed it back to Japan in the late 40s. Here's a picture of my 11. Now, here's a letter from Colin Kelly's father. He's the one, this is the way I got pictures of this. Here's the ship, see it here? That they damaged. See it sinking towards the back there? They towed it back to Japan for repairs. Now this came from Colin Kelly's father's stuff that he had at home. And this is a letter. They were coming to interview him for a newspaper in Madison County, Florida. They come to view the father. And the father went into the stuff and he found this picture. Now here's something is very difficult for me to understand and believe. You got to read this to yourself, or you can read it out loud. Go ahead, Terry. Go ahead. Start from the top. This is very surprising. Now, not too many, very, very few people know about this. Very, very few. Read
This
it
is
out
from the
loud.
headquarters, Army Air Forces,
What date?
14 September 1945. Memorandum for the Chief Office of Information Services. Subject, Captain Colin Kelly. 1. Mrs. Fedlow's representations. Or Pedlow. Mrs. Pedlow.
Yeah, Mrs. Pedlow. When Colin Kelly got killed, she remarried a doctor by the name of Pedlow. Go ahead.
Okay. And she was his American wife.
Right.
Okay. Mrs. Pedlow, the former Mrs. Colin Kelly, in a telephone conversation with General Hall, 8 September, expressed her concern over the War Department's failure so far to establish the facts, in quotes, about her late husband's alleged exploit in sinking the Jap battleship Haruna, 8 December
Now
1941.
you got to realize this letter is September the 5th. It wasn't. They didn't know. He didn't sink a ship. He damaged a cruiser. Okay, keep on going.
Okay. Okay, now this letter is in 45, though,
Right.
and she's talking about an event in 41.
Right.
The day after Pearl Harbor,
Right.
8 December 1941. She had seen in the papers a report that in spite of the Navy's more recent accounting for the Haruna, the hulk of a battleship of that class had been observed about where Kelly was supposed to have bombed it. She had also seen another report that a Jap who had been a crew member on this ship was in our hands as a POW and confirmed the sinking. She pointed out to General Hall that she had never received the Medal of Honor she had understood was to be awarded to Captain Kelly posthumously. She described some remarkable goings-on the part of a PRO at Long Beach who retained a package of Captain Kelly's personal effects for a long time because he said he wanted to give the newspaper he formerly worked for a break on pictures. That's number one. Paragraph 2. General Hall's memorandum. General Hall discussed the matter with Mr. Lovett, who directed that we move in on this affair and get it straightened out in as sensible, dignified, and speedy a manner as possible. General Hall therefore directed Lieutenant Colonel Dunham, Personal Affairs Branch, and Colonel Kraft, Awards, to get together what material they could on Captain Kelly and his 8 September mission. He also directed CIS, or OIS, to be prepared to issue a release when this material has been collected and checked. Major Mitchell turned this directive over to me. I'm having a hard time following all this. So she is saying that it didn't sink. Okay.
Who's saying that?
Well, okay. She is saying, she is complaining over the Air Department's, the War Department's failure so far to establish the facts, quote unquote, about her late husband's alleged exploit in sinking the Jap battleship Haruna on 8 December 1941. She had seen in the papers a report that in spite of the Navy's more recent accounting for the Haruna, the hulk of a battleship of that class had been observed about where Kelly was supposed to have bombed it. So, I don't quite get it. But anyway, so then paragraph 3, 14 September conference. Colonel Kraft, Colonel Dunham, Major Ryder of this office, and myself met in General Hall's office this morning. Colonel Kraft presented the file on the Medal of Honor award, which showed that the Secretary of War had answered a congressional recommendation in 1942 by quoting a letter from General MacArthur, which stated that the award of the Medal of Honor was not warranted. Captain Kelly received the DSC, Distinguished Flying Service Cross, instead. The popular misapprehension about it seemed due to a highly colored story first put out by Lowell Thomas and then taken up by the late President and included in a fireside chat. In both versions, many of the facts now seem to have been erroneous. 4. Facts about Captain Kelly's mission. Colonel Dunham had got together the testimony of surviving members of Captain Kelly's crew, a Major Bean, and 3 enlisted men. They made no claims of sinking anything. They dropped 3 bombs on a Jap warship, which they thought was a battleship, scoring 2 near misses and 1 hit. The plane carried only 3 bombs. The ship was observed to be smoking and weaving, probably attempting evasive action. When nearly back to their base, they were jumped by 6 Zeros, 2 of whom hit them effectively, killing 1 crew member, smashing the instrument panels, and causing 1 engine to break into flames. Some understandable confusion followed. According to survivors, who, however, have agreed among themselves never to mention it publicly,
This is important.
Captain Kelly left his co-pilot at the controls and attempted to bail out himself before any of the others went. He was unable to because his parachute pack caught in the escape hatch, and his dead body was found in the crashed plane. 3 crew members and Bean, the navigator, succeeded in getting clear. Conclusions. After some discussion, General Hall directed me to have cables prepared ordering A2 blah, 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 to check on the points about the alleged Hulk and the alleged Jap something. A cable was drafted by Lieutenant Colonel Cranford at interrogation and is now waiting on General Hall's coordination. The General seemed to feel that if this evidence was forthcoming, we would be in a position to give out a release. For the information of the Chief, OIS, I asked the General what we would do if no evidence to confirm a sunk battleship appeared. He said that we would be in one hell of a mess. Okay, I don't understand what I just read.
They're saying the reason he didn't get the Medal of Honor, one of the reasons he didn't get it, first he didn't sink the ship, he damaged it. It wasn't a battleship, it was a cruiser called the Ashigara.
Yeah.
Third thing is, after reading this and determining the facts, MacArthur didn't want to give an Air Force guy a Medal of Honor. He wanted to give an Army guy a Medal of Honor. He wouldn't, that's why he took it back, He should have had the Medal of Honor. Because he saved his crew. He kept the plane in motion while his crew could bail out. He should have got the Medal of
He
Honor.
tried to bail out while his crew was still
Well, he kept the plane in the air while his crew bailed out. But of course, this is one says one thing, one says another thing. But basically, this, and how I got this letter, you wouldn't believe it. I went to an aviation show, and they were selling stuff from World War II, and I came across a guy who worked in that department. He says, "You think Cullen Kelly was a hero?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm going to give you something." He comes to my house, he brings me this letter.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Of course, I would never show it to the living survivors, the 2 or 3. So I never showed it to anybody. Occasionally I would let somebody read it.
He didn't ride the airplane in intentionally. He was trying to bail out, but he got stuck by the door.
He was an unintentional hero.
It says he left his co-pilot at the controls and attempted to bail out himself before any of the others went.
I don't believe that.
But you said this Dizon guy from the Philippines,
yeah.
Dizon, found him in the airplane.
No, found him outside the airplane.
Found him outside the airplane.
They found his body outside the airplane.
With
They
his
say
chute, with his chute open?
No, his chute was still closed. They say his chute got caught. He was trying to get out the window, and his chute got caught. The left window on the left side of the plane. His chute got caught, and they found him. The guy whose head was decapitated, they found him inside the plane.
But he wouldn't have landed right next to the plane. If he had fallen through the sky,
He wouldn't have, right. So he was in the plane. He
was in the plane.
Yeah.
He didn't try to bail out first.
Well, whether he did or he did. This is what, it's all bullshit. Go to the next, go to the next page.
Go to the next page.
What's the next?
I thought I was going to get
What's the
closure
next-
here.
What's the next page?
I was looking for closure.
What is that?
County war hero died in closing days of conflict.
This is the co-pilot they're talking about now.
They're talking about
Don Robbins.
Yeah. From Cowlitz County. He died with other Americans aboard a Japanese prison ship in the closing days of
They
1944.
were transporting him to Japan, these guys. These POWs of war. They work in the coal mines, defense factories.
And he was a co-pilot for Kelly.
Yeah,
He was the co-pilot.
Yeah, he was a co-pilot.
Okay. So it's interesting. I mean, there's a dispute over
Go
what
to the
happened.
next page.
This page?
No, turn it over.
Okay.
What is that page?
Well, there's a lot of things here. Aviators' World War II heroics finally brought down to earth. That's about Colin Kelly. Okay, that's one thing.
What's the other side?
AF.
There's his wife and the baby. That's the one I met.
Okay.
She was living in Brooklyn.
Okay. All right. But did they ever? Was there any further?
That's as far as this goes. Now the 2 men, the 3 men that I met, they say he should have got the Medal of Honor. He saved his crew. He stayed in the plane. kept it in the air while, while these guys, he gave the crew, he ordered them to bail out, and they all bailed out, he kept the plane in the air.
They were on the same plane.
Everybody embellishes.
Yeah, they embellish everything, you're right.
Yeah.
Go to the last page.
Listen to this. Kelly, the handsome scion of a prominent Florida family with a beautiful young wife and a cute 19-month-old son, was a perfect hero at a time when America desperately needed one. Friends and family say that Roosevelt later told Kelly's distraught mother, who wanted his heroism downplayed, "We need a hero. He's a graduate of West Point. He's an upright young man, comes from an upright family. It's your duty to the country to let us make him a hero and play him up." Roosevelt wrote a letter to the President of the United States in 1956. This is after Roosevelt. Wait a second. What? Roosevelt wrote a letter, it says, to the President of the United States in 1956.
Whoever
Oh,
was
I see. He wrote this
41.
while he was still alive.
Right.
Okay. To whoever was president in 1956. Okay. Recommending an appointment to West Point for the hero's son, Colin Corky P. Kelly III. Quickly, the Florida delegation, led by Senator Claude Pepper, nominated Kelly for the Medal of Honor. "We were in a state of real bewilderment," explains D. Clayton James, the respected MacArthur biographer. "We had to manufacture heroes and had to manufacture events that seemed glorious. We needed something that seemed to hold hope. I would think the meteor made him a hero, and I guess President Roosevelt went along with it," said retired General William Westmoreland, who was a cadet with Kelly at West Point.
Westmoreland was a cadet with Kelly.
He was a cadet with Kelly.
Westmoreland was the Vietnam general.
Yes, he was.
Well, that makes sense, because I just met a guy, 90 years old, that flew 4 series.
Here, take this.
Is that my 11?
Well, that, I
Came
think
for
the
the public library, yeah.
undisputed hero that is
Let me
in
go
here
get the
is
other one in
Goldman.
there.
The Tokyo Raiders, they will never be disputed as not being heroes.
Okay, are we ready for dinner?
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna go to